Greetings and thank you for tuning in to my latest video. Tonight I am going to be dissecting King Charles's throne speech. Tuesday, the 28th of May, King Charles mounted the throne in Canada's Red Chamber where the Senate meets, and he read the text of a speech prepared by Mark Carney's Liberal government. He did inject a little, at the beginning, there was a little preamble that Charles would have, or he or his staff would have written themselves, but the meat of that speech was provided to him by the government of Canada, by the Mark Carney-led Liberal Party, which is the governing party in our nation. I had intended to do this a lot sooner. I will be uploading this on Thursday, the 29th of May. However, life gets busy. My youngest is playing soccer, because I got to go to the soccer game. I'm working. It's tough to find the time at times. And so I have written out my reaction, and I'm going to be reading the text of what I wrote. And down in the comment section, I'm going to include, I had done a video about a week ago with my own version of what I expected King Charles to be reading, the words that I figured he would be saying. And I wasn't far off the mark. I was surprised. I made reference to Vimy Ridge. So did Charles make mention of Vimy Ridge, as well as the Somme, Ypres, and some other notable battles, Juno Beach, that Canada's been involved with. So I thought he might make reference to Canada's wartime efforts, and he did. And there were a few other things in there. I talked about immigration. Charles talked about immigration. I talked about climate change. Charles talked about climate change. So I got a few things right, although my version was far more redacted. I'll include a link down below if you want to see how I did. Um, my version was only 7, 8 minutes long, not as long. Charles went on for about half an hour. But at any rate, before I read my reaction, my scripted out response or views on the speech, before I read that out, you're welcome to hit the like button, to subscribe to the channel. I put out lots of content on news and current events, my thoughts, views, and opinions. A 58-year-old ex-military left the Canadian Armed Forces in June of 2021. Often have what our former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau deemed unacceptable views. I am something of the poster child for cancel culture because I am a Christian, old, 58 years of age, born 1966. My skin pigmentation is white, uh, Christian, male, white, straight. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. You're not allowed to inject your voice into the marketplace of ideas. Well, I have a YouTube channel. I can talk. And I invite you as well, obviously, to fill the comment field. Let me know your thoughts on Charles's speech. So without any further ado, I'm going to read what I wrote. And I gave it something of a title called Hyperbole, Platitudes, and Hot Air, otherwise known as the throne speech. What a joke. Millions of dollars to have Charles come over with his wife and read a speech that was completely devoid of anything specific, with lots of empty patriotic rhetoric. The Governor General could have read the same words, minus the lines inserted by Chuck about how he bleeds more and more maple syrup with each visit to Canada, as if we need someone flying over from London to remind Canadians that we're a sovereign nation. But minus the empty platitudes and lack of anything specific, there were some obvious dog whistles and things that could and should be cause for alarm, in my opinion. And one of those dog whistles was on the housing front. As everyone knows, and even Carney and the liberals have acknowledged this, our housing sector is broken. It's broken because government overregulation has heaped massive costs onto builders, and then they have to pass those costs onto home buyers, which basically renders home ownership now is pretty much impossible for a large segment of younger adults in this country. And it's equally been broken by massive levels of immigration. Canada has been opening up its doors to more and more people, and our housing sector has not been able to accommodate them all. And that adds to inflationary pressure. Canada welcomes tons of people who move to this country after spending years, sometimes 20 plus, working in the Middle East, in the Gulf states, in Arab Gulf states where they have no taxes. And these are desirable immigrants, make no mistake. We're talking about individuals who often have high levels of education from countries like India. I'm talking about doctors, engineers, technicians, highly skilled and sought after people. But what's happened is they spend 10, 20, or more years working in states like the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia. And while they're there, they're earning six-figure incomes, 100+ thousand dollars a year in US dollars with no taxes. Then after, 15, 20, 25 years of working in a country like Dubai, they're in their 40s and they realize you cannot retire in a country like Dubai. You cannot have citizenship. So then what these individuals do is they start looking to settle in Australia, in the United States, in the UK, or in Canada. And they're able to come in because they've been working for so long in a tax-free haven, earning six-figure income. They come with millions of dollars in US dollars in their bank accounts, and they don't bat an eyelash paying $1 or $2 million for a house in a city like Toronto or Vancouver. How much? 1.4 million? I'll take two. And you know now, I'll take three. The market then becomes unaffordable for those who've been living and working in Canada with our massive tax load. Then the people who sell their houses, they get their $1.5 million for their house in Mississauga or Toronto or Vancouver. They get their $1.5 million, $2 million, and then they move out to outlying areas, rural areas, and they start driving the prices up everywhere. So our housing sector has been broken by over-regulation and taxation and by massive levels of immigration. So is the government going to fix those problems? Not according to the words our government gave to King Chucky to deliver. In the speech, this is what Charles said. Critically, the government will undertake a series of measures to help double the rate of home building while creating an entirely new housing industry using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, and Canadian lumber. Got to get that word Canadian in there as much as possible. An entirely new housing industry. That's the words he used. There's nothing wrong with the current housing industry. The Liberal government of the past 10 years has simply broken it. And now, rather than fixing what they destroyed, they're going to create a new one. Carney has already spoken of the government getting back into the housing sector and has talked about mini homes, which Brookfield, where he used to be chairman, Brookfield is heavily invested in companies that manufacture mini homes. And that's going to be, according to Carney, that's going to be the focus. Well, Who is going to own these mini homes? Is it going to be individuals themselves, or are they going to be renting them from the government? This has red flags all over it. It's this classic example of breaking something that works very well in order to manufacture a crisis, in order to pursue an agenda that Canadians otherwise would never accept. Well, it's working. Well, break it, and then you can fix it and redo it the way you want. Now, what did the speech say about immigration? Most Canadians, myself included, recognize that we have an incredibly low fertility rate in this country, and that without immigration, Canada's population would be in decline, and there would be shortages of workers. And given our aging boomer population, we need people of working age. But that doesn't mean you add a population the size of a province every year or two, especially when you don't have the housing and infrastructure to accommodate such a massive influx of people. Well, about immigration, Charles was given these meaningless words. The government is dedicated to rebuilding the trust of Canadians in immigration by restoring balance to the system. Balance? How? Then he went on and he said this: the government will cap the total number of temporary workers and international students to less than 5% of Canada's population by 2027. Okay, so that is two classes of immigrants: temporary workers, temporary foreign workers, and international students. Nothing about those applying for permanent resident status, nothing about refugees. And international students often decide to stay. They get married, get employment, and they take up permanent residence. And the same happens with some temporary foreign workers. But again, that's just two classes of immigrant. There are also refugees. There's also those who apply for permanent residency status, and there's family reunification. He's only talking about two. Uh, and it's going to be capped at under 5% of Canada's total population, but not until 2027. And that's, we're looking at 2 years from now, pretty much, a little less. And we're over 40 million in population now. Who knows what the population will be in 2027? If we just work off of 40 million, 5% of 40 million is 2 million people per year. And we know the population is going to be over 40 million in 2 years' time. If we get up to 42 million, then 5% would be 2,100,000. Doesn't sound like balance to me. It sounds like more of the same policy that created the mess, which is leading the government to seek to move into housing, enriching Brookfield shareholders as Canada loads up on mini homes. Pardon me for swearing, but I won't swear. I'm just going to say this is effing insane. It's fitting that the speech, as so often happens, it kicked off with the usual land acknowledgement rhetoric, that the woke liberal crowd loves, because we are witnessing Carney and his merry band of globalists, what they have planned for Canada's cultural identity. First Nations Canadians saw their existing culture steamrolled by immigration from Europe, and history is repeating right before our very eyes. But because it's prefaced with restoring balance to the system, morons will, yay, balance, because balance is good. This must be good because that's the word they use, balance. It's the same way that idiots support mutilating the bodies of children because they brand it as affirming care. Hacking off healthy tissue on children seems barbaric, but they call it affirming care, so it must be good. In of itself, this is already bad. The problem is it gets worse. You'll be excused for believing that Canada is not facing any horrible, crisis, that it's not the worst time of our, in anyone's lifetime, except for maybe people who were tiny minority of people who were alive during World War II when Hitler was storming across Europe. You can be excused for, not believing that because it's a lie. But in this upside down Orwellian nation called Canada, lies have become truth. Boys can be girls, girls can be boys. Hacking off health, hacking off healthy tissue on children is affirming care. Killing an unborn child because she's a girl and you wanted a boy is fine, because choice is a good thing. But back to the words that Charles was given to read. The king said, "The world is a more dangerous and uncertain place than at any point since the Second World War. Canada is facing challenges that are unprecedented in our lifetimes. Look out. While nothing is dire right now, this is a clear dog whistle that danger is coming." Earlier, the speech spoke of challenges and uncertainties regarding peace and stability, economics, and of course, climate change. So to me, it's clear what lies ahead. Globally, we're going to be looking at more war. Economically, we're going to be unstable. It's going to be there's going to be economic instability. And of course, the big bad boogeyman of climate change that was supposed to have melted the polar ice caps like 20 plus years ago. But through it all, don't worry, Canadians. Your government will be there to take care of everything and change your diapers. Now, Carney wanted a lot of focus on this speech. That's why he asked Prince Andrew's older brother to come over and read it. It's all about optics, not substance. But if you look below the optics, there is a little bit of substance there, and none of it is good. But now, because of the speech, Carney can point back to the throne speech and say, we are fulfilling the commitments we laid out in the throne speech. And because King Charles read it, everyone was paying attention. So, world, take notice. At any rate, that's what I had to say on the King's speech. Thank you for listening. You're welcome to share your comments down below. And you're welcome to subscribe if you think I framed that reasonably well, even if you're diametrically opposed to everything I just said. You're welcome to comment below. I enjoy being challenged. I enjoy encountering viewpoints that are not my own. I would ask you to be respectful and, you know, the ad hominems and the straw man tactics, if you can leave them aside, they're for the intellectually weak. I don't consider myself any giant intellect, but at the same time, I do my best to operate with steel man, not straw man. And again, you're welcome to like, to subscribe, and if you want to share. And again, in the first comment, I will include a link to the text of this, which is on my Facebook profile. And I will include a link to my previous video where I channeled my inner monarch and gave ahead of time what I thought an idea of what King Charles might be saying. But thank you for watching. God bless, and hope to see you again. Take care now.